case, I was just talking about I really liked, we were talking about acting. I really did enjoy the performance of the guy who played the Numidian king. I thought that scene at the beginning of the movie on the ship was really a good character building moment. And it also did a very good job of introducing the theme of the afterlife into this movie, which, as Gavin talked about, we can talk about this in the themes here in a second, but about how the portrayal of the afterlife is a bit different in this movie. It has a lot of different visuals that it offers to that. Mm. But I really like the line where he says, where the Numidian chieftain says, he says, you came to us guileless and not knowing anything, and you embraced everything we taught you. Mm. Even though we don't get a lot of backstory to Lucius, that does offer enough for us to believe that he obviously has had fight training. He's been trained by them how to fight, and he's learned a lot of lessons. Like he's not just been like he's been living in that culture, and so that added a lot to the character of Lucius. Just that one scene. I don't know why, I just really enjoyed that scene. But any other negatives on the acting, or was that pretty much? So you're saying the acting, some of it was good, some of it was bad. Okay. Yeah. But not bad or mixed, kind of. You don't like.
There was no performance in which I was like, that's the most terrible thing.
Just like mixed acting, not great.
Yeah.
Denzel was an acquired taste. I feel like though I never thought you would have enjoyed his he has a different acting style than most anybody. He is, I think Denzel, most people would say, is one of the greatest actors of all time.
Really?
Yeah, by far. You didn't know that?
I mean,
by far.
Dang.
I mean, he is. That's just what most people would say, like the critics and stuff. And this movie, he'll get an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor.
You know what's funny is I actually enjoy the performances of his son John Washington.
Yeah.
Better than
John
Denzel.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
But I think that does it for the negatives. Generally,
I don't have any more.
We can get. How about we go ahead and jump into the history? We're gonna do themes.
Themes first or history? We can do the themes. That's usually quicker.
Yeah, let's do themes.
History.
Because I don't have a lot to say about themes.
Okay, yeah, me neither. I just have. Maybe we can each give one big theme.
Yeah, I mean, one of the themes of both of the movies is like republicanism and giving the power back to the people.
Yeah. What is wrong? We talked about that a lot on the first.
Restoring the republic and fair government. Equal justice under law. A lot of these things that make Western civilization so great is, part of it. That's one of the big themes. That's one of the ideals that they go for. That's the dream of Rome that they're constantly talking about, which is sort of this growth out from ancient Greece and their ideas of democracy, and then Rome kind of comes and imposes this idea of law, and then nationalism. It's not really nationalism, they call it natio. It's a unification idea, a citizenship idea. The Romans are really special in this regard, and they build something that's really incredible and that we can see the legacy of to this day. And so that's one of the big ideals of the movie. Survival is a big ideal of the movie, of both movies.
Like dealing with losing everything, basically.
Yeah. And
I think it's really cool.
Honor.
Strength and honor.
Right. Is a big. So those are big three.
And what you do matters. Like what we do in life echoes in eternity.
Yes.
In this movie, I really feel like rage is a big theme of this movie.
Dying well.
Yep. I really think in this movie a big theme is doing not. It kind of. I think of Kingdom of Heaven, the scene where Balian tells where Baldwin tells Balian, no man, do not cheat. When they're talking, he's
I know what you're talking about.
The line where he's basically like, do not, a king may move a man, but the soul belongs to the man.
Yeah.
Lucius really embodies that in this movie of how, at first he's kind of like, Macrinus, if you let me kill Cassius, that's all I want. But then he realizes, no, I mean, that's not the right thing to do, and he's like, I will not be your instrument in this life or the next. Mm-hmm. He realizes that he shouldn't just do what Macrinus wants him to do. And but even early in the movie, he says, you didn't buy a slave, you bought a gladiator. And that's a really good just historical little point there, is the gladiators weren't viewed as a traditional slave. They had free will. They couldn't just be told what to do in the arena. They actually lived. I think Gavin was trying to talk about. They were able to do a lot of different stuff. They were just it was more like their job. They were it was definitely different from being a professional sports star today. You definitely had a little bit more you were owned by somebody technically, but like I like this movie made it clear that the gladiators weren't like a traditional slave. And but yeah, so Lucius embodies that ideal of how you have to choose your own path. Don't just do what somebody tells you to do.
Right.
Because your soul belongs to yourself. So a little connection there between Kingdom of Heaven and Gladiator too.
There you go.
But another theme, rage. I mean,
Rage.
he has a lot of rage. That's a big theme that's talked about in the movie. Denzel says, he wants to use that rage, and he says it'll drive you to victory. But obviously, that the rage that Lucius figures out that rage is not the answer. That he must find strength and honor. That's what's going to restore Rome, not rage, or even restore or even restore himself and be replenished. Oh, another line I really liked in the scene on the galley. That was such a good scene. I don't know why I love it so much. He says, you found Arishot's love. You found your soul was replenished. And then it's all taken away, and he has to replenish himself again. That's a good theme. He has to find that replenishment again. And just the hero's journey in general is really a big theme of the movie. Like, losing everything and having to fight your way back. Both movies have pretty inspiring stories. I mean, Maximus's is definitely more inspiring and more emotionally heavy. But this one also repeats some themes from the first movie. But it also kind of has some of its own themes as well. But one thing I did want to point out that's kind of a mixed aspect of the movie. It's not a negative or a positive. It does, as you said, it hits a lot of beats of the first one, and that's a little bit more of a negative. But the mixed aspect is that it does feel a little bit like it's in the shadow of the first movie. Like it's a little bit feels like it's a tribute more to the first movie at times.
Yes, it does.
And that's not just because of the callbacks. I think they needed to have the callbacks. Like I like those. Like I got chills on most of them when I first saw it for the first time when I heard them. But I think that it does feel like it's a tribute to the movie, to the first movie sometimes, and it exists in the shadow of it, which is kind of a mixed aspect. It's kind of a bit odd sometimes. It's not a negative, though. But we want to move on to history?
Let's move on to history.
Okay, yeah. You just wanted to give your spiel, and then I have a few things.
Let's talk about the armor.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about, the armor. How it actually works.
Well, yeah. Something in movies that really irritates me is how armor is defeated by weapons every single time. And it makes me wonder why they even bother wearing the dang stuff, because it never works. It never protects anyone from anything. And in this movie, you saw both of these things happen. I really appreciated the moments that happened where the armor was actually effective. It really just helps with the immersion. 2 instances that I can think of. And by the way, they do this in the first movie too. The fight with Pedro Pascal against the 4 dudes in the arena.
That was sick.
It was a really good fight scene. And he takes multiple hits to the back of the breastplate, and it doesn't penetrate. And that's awesome. And then Maximus's breastplate is not penetrated.
Technically, it's Maximus.
Yeah, it's Maximus's breastplate.
Lucius is wearing it.
And he's getting stabbed, and it doesn't go through, which is a thematic moment as well, because it symbolizes Maximus and his father, protecting him.
In the scene where the Casey is fighting, we forgot to mention this. There's a really good part at the beginning when he walks in. Those are his soldiers. Those are the guys that he had commanded, and they salute him.
Yep.
And he salutes them, and then they fight. That was a good emotional little moment there.
It was,
where you felt the emotion, like he's fighting his own men.
And so, the armor where it weirdly fails though is with arrows for some reason. The funny thing is that arrows historically have not been super effective at defeating armor, especially chainmail.
Yeah.
And we know this because the invention of the crossbow changed warfare, because crossbows packed enough power to penetrate armor. Mm-hmm. And suddenly, things became a lot more dangerous. And so, it is really funny to me how every single arrow goes through all armor every single time. I don't know why his wife bothered with that leather breastplate if the arrow just absolutely defeats it immediately. The arrow also defeated, Pedro Pascal's, Cassius's breastplate. It didn't even deflect one of them. The arrows had a 100% effectiveness rate against all armor, which was really strange, because if it's going to deflect a sword at close range, it's going to deflect an arrow.
But anyway, he would have still died from all.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not saying that he should have lived or
Oh, no,
anything,
no.
but like that was a little. Every single arrow.
That scene was brutal, man. It's one of the more brutal scenes in the movie, emotionally.
Also, with the arrows, there's this scene where Acacius is going to free Lucius.
Yeah.
And they
that
catch
was
him, and they have this ambush, and they have all these archers waiting, and there's like 10 dudes, and they're all in close,
Yeah.
right? And they shoot every single
Except
guy
him.
instantly, except Pedro Pascal.
Like, take off his clothes.
And you get the feeling that they do it intentionally, but it's like there's no way that would be possible.
It would have been cool to have like a sword battle or something.
Well, like, how did they know which one was him?
I know.
Like, they just shot. It was
He was like in the middle too. It wasn't like he was like leading them either. He was like in the middle, I think.
That would have never happened.
Yeah. So a couple of historical things just that I've looked up. Yes. So the siege of Numidia at the beginning. Numidia had actually been part of the Roman Empire for 250 years. At that point, I mean, that's pretty inaccurate how they portrayed it, obviously. But I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I think they probably chose Numidia because it's kind of mentioned in the first movie a lot. So people would be, oh yeah, I remember the guy Juba, he was from Numidia. So I don't mind that they used Numidia. They could have used probably a lot of different places. But yeah, it doesn't really bother me. Also, yeah, sharks were not used in the sea battles. And the sea battles were actually called pneumachia. It was like the staging of naval battles in the Colosseum and stuff. They were called pneumachia. There were no sharks though, and I mean that was reaching there. It was like, we're gonna add sharks in the Colosseum. We love that. I mean, it was kind of interesting. It's kind of pointless though. The guy gets shot with a couple arrows. It doesn't matter if he's eaten by a shark. It feels like just an extra thing. He falls off, he's probably gonna drown or something. The shark's pointless if he eats him. Doesn't really matter. But also, the baboons and the rhinoceroses actually were used in the arena. Although baboons are not used in the Colosseum in the movie; they're in that smaller arena. But there's no evidence of a record of a gladiator riding a rhinoceros. But they were used in the Colosseum. So I guess they would throw the rhino in there and have it like charge people and stuff. But and then a few other things. But this one historian actually really liked the portrayal of how the gladiators how the culture, gladiator culture, of how like they're these guys who like they're about surviving. They just survive day by day. They just defy death. And also he liked how they presented the doctor perspective of like and once again, I love the character of Ravi. He's my favorite character in the movie. But he offered a lot. It offers that perspective of like the healers, the people who are behind the scenes, kind of like for sports today, the team doctors and everything. Also, in the naval battle, they claim that it's the battle of Salamis or Salamis.
That's a Greek battle
between the Trojans and the Persians.
Yeah. I caught that.
You caught that? It's
yeah.
inaccurate. In reality, it was in 480 BC, and it was between the Greek city-states and the Persians, not the Trojans. I don't know why. I don't know if that was just a simple mistake.
So there was two massive invasions of Persia into Greece.
Yeah.
The first time they were repelled at the Battle of Salamis and Plataea. And the second time they were repelled very famously at the Battle of Thermopylae.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, was the Battle of Thermopylae, did that extend? Is that after they the 300 got massacred you're talking about?
No, the Battle of Thermopylae is the 300.
Oh, you're saying that the Spartans got repelled there?
No,
well, the Persians won that battle.
Right, but they would end up losing later.
They ended up, yeah, that's what I'm saying, after that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Macrinus. Macrinus was a real-life man. He was a Praetorian prefect from North Africa, and he did become emperor in 217 AD. And he was involved in a conspiracy that killed Caracalla.
Wow.
The insane, the younger, not the younger, the twins, but the insane one, the one that has the disease, with the monkey. But he was never a slave to Marcus Aurelius, and he never was involved in gladiator training. But I mean, they had to create a character for him. I mean, they had to have his, they couldn't just have him. I mean, this is an example of an instance where They had to have a character.
I love the reference to Christian persecution.
Oh yeah, crucifixion.
Yeah. Well, the crucifixion is dealt with in the first one, but like they openly talked about the persecution of Christians.
It's like a common punishment.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, they'll deal with them as like a Christian, and that's just like a really cool historical nod.
Yeah,
That's a huge part of the story of the Roman Empire was their battle against Christianity and how that affected the Romans. Really, really cool nod there to history.
Yeah. Yeah, but even though the character of Macrinus is not necessarily presented in a historically accurate fashion, he is a pretty well-written character.
And we talked about the monkey being appointed as consul.
Oh yeah, I read up that it was Caligula. Caligula appointed his monkey. And it says here it was inspired. It was a part of them. They never said that they were inspired by this, but it was possibly inspired by Caligula, who one historian said he never did, but he intended to name his horse as a consul.
Yeah.
Caligula. He was a really bad emperor, Caligula. Was he after this? Hold on. When did he rule? Let's see. 31. Yeah, he was about 150 years before this. But you were right on that. He was like one of the worst emperors of all time, from what I've heard. Caligula, yeah, he just sounds like a bad emperor, Caligula. But something that's presented in the movie is the marking of the gladiators with fire, right? So that comes from according to historians, that's an incorrect interpretation of like of something called the sacramentum, which was an oath that they would make, which means I swear to let myself be burned. And it didn't actually mean that an actual it wasn't an actual mark they would get. It says it should actually be interpreted as a reference to combat instead of an actual mark. It says, though, the practice did happen, but it wasn't to gladiators. It was to slaves who would escape from their masters. And that's obviously probably similar to what happened in the 1800s and after that with slaves. But the reason, slaves running away were considered robbers because they were like robbing they were property of the master, so they would be, and so he was like, they would be viewed as like stealing themselves from their owner. So that's why they would be marked. So people would obviously know that they had run away before, and that so that they would know that they're a slave. So if they tried to run away again, they would be caught promptly. And then the final thing that just people are talking about a lot is how Marcus Acacius obviously was not a real. There's no record of a guy named Marcus Acacius. He's a purely fictional character. And but then the Gaeta and Caracalla are portrayed as pretty much just white dudes, like British guys. And in real, I think one actor is British. Gaeta is British, the taller one. The shorter one was an American actor. But they were actually of mixed Italic, Arab, and Punic North African descent. So they were much more dark-skinned. But actually, finally, there was an interview with Denzel where they were talking about his character, and they were like, "What do you think about the real-life Macrinus?" He was like, "Well, the real-life Macrinus wasn't black, but he was like, there were black people in Rome, and that's definitely true. That's historically accurate. So it's not completely implausible that there were black people. I mean, there definitely were. Yeah." That's just.
I think that about does it.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's your final rating?
Yeah, she'll give your message to the director. But everybody's favorite. I give this a solid, I give it an 8 out of 10. It's like a really entertaining movie.
It's funny. I was going to give it the exact same rating.
Yeah, it's a really entertaining. I'm interested to see that with your rating, how you reconcile the negatives you had with the acting, or with not the acting, more the some of your negatives, because you seem to have a few. But because I would be interested in how good the second one had to be to get to an 8. But let me give mine first. The 8 out of 10, and I think it's a really entertaining movie. It's just a spectacle, and it's really fun to watch. The acting's good, not as good as the first one, but it's satisfactory. It's well done, and I liked the writing for the most part. The storytelling was great. The action sequences are arguably even better. And a lot of just good, big emotional moments, a lot of great speeches, a lot of great rousing moments. And my main negative would be plot holes and a lack of backstory. A lack of backstory to Lucius's character and a lack of focus on the events of the first movie. Those would be my biggest negatives on the movie. But it's still an 8 out of 10 because it is fun. I was entertained. I mean, I've seen it 4 times. It's a good movie.
Are you not entertained?
Are you not? I was entertained.
Yeah, you're entertained.
I was entertained more by the first one, but this one still got me.
I was entertained as well. I thought they honored the memory of the first one while creating an original film that was very entertaining in its own right. It had flaws. but what movie doesn't have flaws? It's really up my alley. This is my genre, so I gotta rate it high because I would rather watch a movie like this than any other kind of movie, really. And although it does have problems that I think are worse than you think, but I also recognize that they did some parts of the movie better than the first time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
and so that kind of balances it. And so
for being a sequel to a Best Picture winner, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean it's not the best sequel that I've ever seen, but it's good. It didn't have any rap music. We loved that.
What do you think about it being Christopher Nolan's favorite movie of the year?
Well, it's kind of because there wasn't any amazing movies that came out this year.
Yeah.
What would rival this?
It definitely wasn't as good as last year.
There's nothing to rival Gladiator 2.
It was a lot better of a movie year.
So I feel like it's Christopher Nolan's best movie because it's just a good movie and there isn't as many of those coming out right now. I mean, I can't think of anything else.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of movies this year, but yeah, it's probably the most entertaining movie I've seen all year.
Yep. So my message to the director is Ridley. I am super impressed that you are 87.
He was born in 37, so he's 80. He's either 80. Yeah, I'm assuming he's turned. He's 80. Was that 87? Yeah, 87.
He's 87, and you are still making movies that good. That's
on that big of scale.
That's incredible. So my hat is off to you, and
it landed perfectly behind the camera.
Yeah. And so great job,
Ridley. He is a legend. Let's be honest.
Obviously, I think you know this, Ridley, but your legacy is going to be the first one. But that's a good thing because the first one is one of the greatest movies ever put to film. And we love you, Ridley. We're going to be sad when you go soon because your movies are better than everyone else's, other than Napoleon.
Which we will review the director's cut, and we'll let you.
That
if
movie
any thoughts change, I don't think they will.
Is a turd.
The director's cut adds a little bit, but not much.
So anyhow, toodles, y'all. Thanks for tuning into our chatter, and we will see you next time.
Yep.